This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski,
featuring retired FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer.
Well, we finally heard the words that I think a lot of us never thought we would hear, but my question would be, when we're talking about the Natalee Holloway case, is how accurate are those words? Joran Van Der Sloot finally admitted to murdering Natalee Holloway in a plea deal that he made here in the U.S. Joining us to discuss, Jennifer Coffindaffer, retired FBI Special Agent. The confession, I'm certainly happy that it brought some closure to the Holloway family. Beth Holloway saying that they feel like they were the victors in that confession or admission of guilt the other day. But at the same point, the thing I was wondering right away is, why are we taking Joran Van Der Sloot at his word and then somehow letting that affect exactly what the punishment will be for trying to extort Beth Holloway out of $25,000? He's not a credible individual. And if he knows he needs to say whatever he needs to say, I think he'd probably say it if it means less jail time. What are your thoughts?
I agree with you, Tony. This whole situation, well, first of all, I just want to say for the family, this is really all about justice for them at the end of the day. They are the victims that remain from what happened to Natalee Holloway. So I want to preface any comments with that. Mm-hmm. But having said that, so we know in Aruba that there's a 12-year statute of limitations for homicide. As crazy as that may seem, mm-hmm. That's what their laws are.
Yeah.
But in doing a little digging last night, Tony, and this morning, they have a little, what would you call it? I can't remember what you call that, Tony. They have a little, you'll have to take all this out.
Sure, yeah.
They have a notion in their law that states that if there is new evidence, that they can revisit whether those statute of limitations can be unlimited. In other words, whether the limit can be changed from the 12 years.
Really?
When I read that, I thought, oh my goodness, is this something that was really planned? Because the new evidence would obviously be this confession. Mm-hmm. And could that extend, and could Aruba actually go after Van Der Sloot for this? So I'm kind of hopeful, Tony, and I'm kind of thinking this is perhaps why the prosecuting authority here has said, listen, okay, we'll give you a lie detector. We'll take what you have to say at face value. We'll run your sentence concurrent, which of course had many of us our blood boiling.
Yeah.
But was this part of a bigger plan? I'm hopeful.
I am too, but is it part of a bigger plan, I think, is the big question. It all seems very bizarre on the surface to just let him get this lesser sentence. I mean, he may never spend a single day in an American jail cell. The fact that the sentences are running concurrent, he has 27 years, I believe, in the Aruba jail, or Peruvian jail rather. And if the only way that he'd spend time in the U.S. is if for some reason he got out early in Peru, then they'd send him here to live out the rest of at least that 20 years. I don't know. It seems nuts to me why this wasn't going to be a sentence stacked on top of another sentence that I believe was what the original thought process was in bringing him here, was that he's got his 27 years there. And then after that, he comes here and, he won't get out until he's, in his 70s or 80s, if that. Now we're talking, late 40s, early 50s. He could easily go out and offend again.
Right. And that was the big worry, right? Not consecutive sentences, not throwing the book at him, not letting him plea, but making him go through a trial. He doesn't want to be here. The situation in Peru, he gets conjugal visits. He even has a child over there. I think he's divorced from one, woman he married while in prison. I mean, he's got it made there compared to the situation he would be in here, which would be, by the way, the same situation Richard Allen is in, likely in a maximum security facility in solitary confinement. So when you look at all of that, what a sweet deal. Who wouldn't take this deal? Yeah. And can we get to the confession, Tony?
Yeah.
I'm on a beach with a girl I've picked up at a bar you would think, a romantic slice of heaven, and there just happens to be a piece of concrete there.
I've not been to Peru. I don't know if
concrete. Cinder block.
A cinder block. Yeah. It felt to me, and I want to get your reaction on that. Almost fantastical. I mean, it felt a little bit much. Like, this asshole is saying these horrible things just to try and hurt the family even more while he's getting this sort of a deal. I believe he killed her, but I'm wondering if he made the story worse. And God, he's had how many years now to come up with whatever his confession would be if he is ever to give it. And he certainly gave one. But is there any truth to any of it?
I have a hard time buying it. I want to know what happened to the bloody cinder block. I want to know what happened to the blood. That, you know how vascular the head is. Mm-hmm. There would have been blood all over that beach. Yeah. And then he picks her up and wades into the ocean and sets her down for her to go off to sea.
Yeah.
That's nonsense. Yeah. And people talking about sharks and all of these things. That's not at the, knee level where you lay somebody. I can't buy it. But like I said, if it gives peace to the Holloway family, I understand that. But I really think this might go deeper, Tony. I think this might have been that they had maybe some understanding with the the authorities in Aruba. We know it was reported on Nancy Grace that they asked for the file. I was down there a year ago speaking at a big law enforcement conference down there, and over dinner we had a couple of words about Natalee Holloway, obviously.
Yeah.
And I just, I don't want to speak for them, but sure. Everybody knew that he was responsible. It was great to hear it out of his own mouth. I'm not buying his depiction of what happened.
Well, the fact that he did say it out loud, that he did it, he took that cinder block, one of the more disturbing aspects of that, and I'm not saying this to be gruesome, but because I think it paints the picture even worse of this is, nonsense of saying, and then her face collapsed in. That's part of the confession there. That to me just seems like something that was said to be hurtful and mean and to paint an awful picture of one's daughter and this young woman that everybody absolutely, feels horrible for and loved. That seemed extreme. But with that being said, this, I think, would certainly be qualifying as new evidence. If anything is qualifying as new evidence, the suspect confessing to United States law enforcement, I would think that would be enough to open the door to Peruvian law to say, okay, yeah, let's open this one up again.
Right. Let's extend that statute of limitations based on the new evidence. Yeah. It makes all the sense in the world, and something likely Van Der Sloot wasn't thinking of, just like most of us thought that door was closed with that 12-year limitation. I'm just going to remain hopeful that someday he serves time, real time, for the rest of his life, which I think is what many of us think is what he deserves for what he did to Natalee.
Maybe there still is more to the story. Maybe this is not the final chapter in the book. Maybe we're still in the middle, and maybe he will finally face that justice back in his home.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free,
so you can binge on true crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.